And we're back. It is a Thursday, and this is a pulse here on Joy News, wherever you are watching us from. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. We are live from our studios here in Accra, Kokomlemle. Also on DSTV channel 421 Gold TV, it is 125. And around the world, it's myjoyonline.com. As always, it's a pleasure. My name is Elton Broby. Now, this afternoon, the New Patriotic Party walks the talk on call for immediate arrest of the governing NDC's National Vice Chairman, Sofo Azorko, as the petition Inspector General of Police of allegations of physical assault on their third vice chair during the Ablekuma parliamentary by-election.
Physical attack on the third vice of our party, Masaudu, by their vice chairman, Azorko. The party is together all our issues and we confront them as such.
But we'll hear from the NDC who are calling the bluff of the NPP and system. The move is much ado about nothing. Also, Cabinet approves initiatives aimed at ending Ghana's annual expenditure of over $15 million on renting property abroad for diplomatic use.
Spending a staggering more than $15 million every year on renting properties abroad for our diplomatic use. This is not a judicious use of taxpayers' resources.
More, as President Mahama says, the move will ensure Ghana's missions abroad are housed in property owned by the Republic and reducing wasteful expenditure. Government will also merge AT Ghana and Telecel as Airtel Tigo's losses in the first 8 months of 2025 alone hit $10 million. We have details plus analysis as Joy News research shows that AT's debt and liabilities in 2024 crossed 3.5 billion Ghana cedis. And later, folks, I have a sit-down with the Ashanti Regional Minister who is warning MMDCs he will not hesitate to recommend their dismissal as local authorities take charge of the renewed fight against illegal mining following the withdrawal of the Inspector General of Police Task Force. And also ask why President Mahama chose a 35-year-old to lead a hostile political regime to the NDC. This and many more coming your way in today's edition of The Pulse, brought to you by Defend, Drill, Cough, Expectorant. Defend, Drill, breathe easy, feel better. My name is Elton, but when we return, we'll deal with the various matters. Welcome back. Let's start off from the stables of the NPP. And of course, we are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course, on Facebook. Now, the NPP this morning petitioned the Ghana Police Service over alleged threats and violent act involving senior NDC officials. The party says the party director of communication, Richard Ayangba, said the minority leader, Alexander Fejamaki, national organizer Henry Nanabuachi, and Frank Anadompe, who is the minority chief, were threatened with death by the NDC's first national vice chairman, Chief Sofo Azorko, and Akwatia North Constituency Communications Officer, Alhaji Abdul Wahab Amadou. The petition also accuses Chief Azorko and his associates of physically attacking the NPP's third vice, Alhaji Osman Masaudu. Here are excerpts from a petition filed today. Well, after filing the petition at the police headquarters, the Director of Communications with the NPP, Richard Ayangba, described the incident as reckless and a threat to Ghana's democratic progress, warning they could fuel insecurity.
The New Patriotic Party issued a statement yesterday in the nature of a petition against the conduct of some NDC personalities in Akwatia by-election. This morning we came here to submit that petition formally to the IGP to have the police investigate and possibly arrest and punish the conduct of Alhaji or Chief Sofo Azorko and Abdul Wahab, who is a constituency communication team member or officer for Akwatia North constituency, Akwatia North of the NDC. We are interested in justice. Our coming here is designed to formally petition the IGP. We know the police saw it. The particular abuse of our third vice, Alhaji Usman Masaudu, was in the full glare of your cameras, and the police were there. To some point, they came in to separate, and the person who slapped Masaudu, our third vice, was restrained by the police after he slapped him. But strangely, the police didn't arrest him. A criminal act. The police saw it, they separated, which was good, but there was no action. And that's not how we want to carry on our country. Just as we're talking, if any of myself or my deputies go ahead to slap any of you here, it won't suffice just to separate and so don't slap him the second time, and that's it. So we want the police, as if they haven't seen it, we have brought it to their attention. Evidence on pen drive has been included with the petition. So if they haven't seen what you guys have dutifully circulated in the media, at least we're provided for them so that they can take full account of what happened and take the necessary step to bring sanity by punishing these individuals, not only for the sake of punishing them, but to create a certain standing deterrent for all who would want to copy such behavior, and that our democracy will not tolerate that, and that is not part of how we want to engage ourselves in a democratic process. So that's the reason we came, and we are very happy, even though we didn't have the opportunity to extensively discuss with the IGP, was gracious enough to give us a few moments, and then had promised that we can come in and see him. So we are working on appointment to see him later on if need be, to discuss the petition further. But we want to also plead with you as the media to focus on this petition. The reason is that it is happening to a member of the New Patriotic Party, but it is happening to our democracy. And if these individuals are emboldened because there's no sanction, there's no punishment, they will do it to anybody. And that anybody could be you, could be me, and our democracy suffers. And so we are urging you to focus on this petition. We are going to be focused on it, but we want it to be a collective effort. It is not an MPP's effort to chase or to witch hunt these individuals or to have them punished necessarily, so that our democracy will benefit from it. So we plead with you to join with us in this pursuit so that our democracy will.
Well, the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC, Rashid Tanko Computer, however, says the action of Sofo Azorko was in reaction to Alhaji Masaudu's provocation, insisting there is no wrongdoing for the police to investigate. He spoke on PM Express.
I have said that at the time Vice Chairman Buga was speaking through the mic. You know, somebody was interviewing him, and he was continually mentioning Azorko's name and saying all manner of things about the chairman.
Richard, allow him to make his point.
Let him talk. You should interject.
Allow him to make his point.
Chairman Azorko came in there and ostensibly changed the language to I will use your sister Gibi's one of wisdom. Dagbani. Yeah. And because you don't understand Dagbani.
No, tell us what he said.
And he was telling him.
Richard, allow him to make the point.
They know each other very well. And he was telling him, the thing that you were saying about me was unfair. He was thinking Azorko was not around there. Azorko is a nice man, he's a gentleman. And you see, NPP came in as agents of provocateurs in the election. They knew they were going to lose. Their leadership went on removing spree of our posters from.
Meanwhile, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, says although the Akwatia election has been generally peaceful. The heavy police presence was intimidating and also called for a full disclosure of how much was spent on their operation. Vera Abdul is programs officer at CDD Ghana.
I think we do not need to deploy this much security for a by-election, 119 constituency. How much is it costing the state? I think now we have to talk about the financial cost to the taxpayer. How much does it cost us for how many days the security was in Akwatia? If you look at the number of days in other jurisdictions, they will tell you how much it costs for an officer to move an officer from his or her station to another station. How much is it costing us? And the question is, was it based on intelligence that something is going to happen in Akwatia? Is that the reason, or it was based on what's happening in Ablekuma? I think we need to look at how to prevent this. In the general election, what is the police going to do? Is it going to be the same in Tamale?
But it worked. I mean, it worked. There was no
violence. That is worrying. Even though it worked, it's worrying. It's worrying. I know maybe the IGP has to do this also because of what happened, but I think we need some transparency and accountability.
But it's a fact.
Well, let's try and understand what went down in Akwatia and whether the position taken by the NPP is worth it. The party's director of communication, Richard Angyagba, joins me. Mr. Angyagba, good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Also joining me is the NDC's Deputy General Secretary, Mustafa Gbamde. Mustafa, good to see you. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me and Richard on the other line.
All right. So first of all, let me ask you, Richard. So did you get a response from the police today when you presented the petition?
Thank you for the opportunity, and good afternoon to my brother Mustafa. I don't want to congratulate him for a victory because his victory is questionable as far as we are concerned just now. But I think that he tried his best, except that it's a questionable best. So yes, the IGP actually, when we got there, was getting ready to head out to another appointment. But then we managed to have a chat with him, wherein he accepted the petition and that we had agreed for further meeting. But he's fully aware of the petition, and that we indicated to him is in respect of the happenings in Akwatia. And so he directed that it be received on his behalf by his special aide, which he have done. And then we have a possibility of meeting him early next week for any further discussion with respect to it. So he's received the petition, and the content of it you are now aware of. We're just asking for three fundamental things: that the incident be thoroughly investigated, and upon that investigation, action be taken legally to punish the two individuals mentioned in the petition, and the IGP doing so keep the public informed on how he is proceeding with this petition. It is important because what happened there, left alone, would fester, would create or become a standing incentive for others to mimic and replicate and normalize violence as part of our election. You cannot do what Sofo Azorko did, what Abdul Wahab was doing, echoing what Sofo Azorko said earlier, that if indeed he had seen the Honorable Alexander Ponyomakin where he was, there would have been a by-election in his constituency. Going further to say they are looking for three people, the Honorable Ponyomakin included, our national organizer, Nana Boachi, is included, and our minority chief whip also included, the Honorable Anodopre. These are very unacceptable and criminal behavior exhibited, and we think that the police taking action is very, very necessary and is the right thing to do. But what's shocking for me, Elton, is that this thing happened in the full glare of the police. It happened, and they slapped an individual right in front of the police who had not done anything. And even if he had done anything at all, it is not the place of the person who slapped him to do so, because he is not the enforcer of the law. He can report, but they went ahead right in front of police, poked somebody in the face, and then went ahead and slapped him. And all the police could do was separate them and say, everybody go your way. I'm scandalized by that behavior. We saw a similar thing happen in Ablekuma North, and then it was as if the police were weakened or were told not to arrest anybody so far as the person is NDC. And this is carrying on, and I think that is most unfortunate. So this step that we're taking is key in defense of our democracy, in defense of the rights of citizens to be able to go about their activities without any fear or intimidation from another without just cause. Even if there's just cause, those causes must be pursued through the legal system or through law enforcement to be able to seek redress. So that's the step we have taken, and we're hoping that the IGP will act expeditiously on it so that we can bring some.
Let me bring in Mustafa Gbamdi. He's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. So, Mustafa, why would your Akwatia North Communication Officer issue a death threat on the minority leader, the minority chief whip, and the national organizer of the NPP? What did they do to warrant such an outburst?
Well, so good afternoon. First of all, I think that it is important to state that we ourselves are now appreciating what incidents took place, because you know that we had shared ourselves into various communities. After the election, what was important at the time was to collate results and have same declared. We are all now arriving in Accra. The General Secretary this morning was in Accra. The National Chairman is also arrived in Accra. We are yet as a body or as an organization going to review all these issues, particularly that nobody is on the ground, nobody is hurt as we speak. All the other running issues can be looked at collectively and actions taken if there is any. Now, what I do know is that the incidents that occurred, part of it had to do with the Honorable Apenyomakins with my boss, Justin Kodia, entering into the NDC's party office to tear posters. And I think that you are well aware that these are very bad practices politically. It's not done. When an election is in section, the midwife of that election in terms of security and enforcing right is the police. If you have identified that there's something that is wrong or unlawful, it was for you to report to the police for action to be taken. But when you arrogate yourself the right to enforce, then it gives people the opportunity or the leeway to do all manner of things. It's not justifiable that because of that conduct, some of these developments should ensue. I think that it was avoidable. But beyond that, I myself am aware that the NPP, having lost this election, were trying to find something to sit on and to clinch to disturb the public. Look, they organized demonstration because of this. They have started with petitions and all of that. They are scattering demonstrations, petitions across some constituencies. But the very constituency in the Futu, where our brothers there are offended because of what they term as a threat on his life,
right,
which is quite unfortunate. These same individual mobilized people to slap a journalist, to beat a journalist, your own colleague, Elton. Till today, as we speak, where have we gotten to that on that matter? Apenyomakins is on the record to have slapped a police officer in their recent demonstration. What has happened to that matter? Such that he feels that Once something happens and he is not happy about it, the police must act. But when it is about him, then the police must not act because he's a minority leader. That is why he's hiding in the shadows of national executives who themselves have been in Accra and they are busy doing their Accra politics. They've never been to the ground. They were never in the ground. If they were on the ground, I'm sure that would have midwifed some of these issues properly. So for me, it's too early for us to condemn statements. We ourselves as a party are doing investigation to understand what exactly took place, so that when we have appraised the issues and come to terms with what really occurred, then we can comment about it.
So are you saying that you are not privy to the videos in circulation, the one from your communication officer and Sofo Azorko?
I have seen videos, but even that, the law, natural justice, it is just fair that the other party is heard. You have not either heard from Apenyomaki himself or his legal representation. You are hearing from a political party communicator and their director of communication. We are saying that as a party, we are also investigating the matter. We are going to, ask our vice chairman what really transpired. We will analyze it together with the pieces of videos that we have seen. Then when you put the bit and pieces together, you can then take an informed position on the matter. And so I would urge my brothers in the NPP not to allow us to jump the gun. We should just allow the processes to move on as two political parties. And because these things doesn't involve grassroots people, but senior members of the two political parties, we should handle it carefully so that it can inure to the new path that we are all charting to ensure that we don't experience political violence whenever we have by-elections and any other election.
All right.
I would have thought that because it involved a national vice chairman of the NDC, a national vice chairman of the NPP, and a minority leader at that level, we should be able to engage our inter-party directorates to see what really took place, what happened, so that we can guide the process going into the future. But if that is the route they decide to take, then it enjoins that we now accumulate all the issues that are pending for the police to deal with it once and for all.
Let me just ask
that the NPP want us to go
Mustafa, let me just ask Richard whether the party may be willing to withdraw this matter from the police and then the two parties engage at the very top. Because Richard, some are suggesting that this can be a mere political rhetoric that may not contain any thread beyond the spoken word. You think that there is more to it than just is what is on the video, and I'm willing to take the NDC's overture that let us discuss this at our level instead of taking it to the police doorsteps.
Well, Elton, I think investigation, in my view, is one of the overflogged nouns in Ghana. Every small thing we're investigating. When people have evidence before them, they are still investigating. You wonder what they're investigating. My brother Mustafa, who is a very serious individual, has seen these videos. He has the capacity to come to a conclusion on that, and he's appeared to have given indication to that what happened is avoidable, and if it's avoidable, it means it's not acceptable. And so why they would have to sit and investigate it, I don't understand. On the face of it, this is a criminal behavior. So maybe investigation is something different in their dictionary. But as far as I understand, the crime has been committed. Now, I think that I agree with Mustafa to the extent that inter-party avenue may be opened for dealing with this, looking at the personalities that this involves. That's good in trying to build consensus and ensure that as stakeholders in the furtherance of democracy in Ghana, we are talking. That dialogue is critical, but then the criminal aspect of it, we cannot resolve that. is something that the law will have to take its course on that. So I'm sure that while that avenue for inter-party engagement to avert these happenings in the future, we must also be clear in our minds that seeing an illegality or a crime committed and turning a blind eye will only serve to worsen the situation, and a worst case would happen in the future. So the criminal aspect, I think that would proceed, and we're urging the IGP to do so expeditiously, but by all means, engaging as political parties to seek peace, to ensure that we are civil and engage ourselves as brothers, as Masaudu was seeking to tell Sofo Azorko the last time that we are brothers. I think that is a necessary thing that we can do. And I think that Mustafa, the Deputy General Secretary of his party, if they are minded to open that avenue, will engage. It will help de-escalate the tensions we have in our elections and ensure that we are more focused on the national interest as opposed to the parochial interest that drives some of these tensions.
And then my final question, so that I can let you go. I mean, yesterday we were told by your director of elections that you are compiling what you describe as infractions, and that will inform your decision going forward as whether to challenge the outcome of this election in court. How far are you on that?
I'll have to get more details on that, but then yes, that is some work that is ongoing. The key thing, as far as I'm concerned, is that we're clear in our minds what was done in the case of Sofo Azorko and Abdul Wahab. That is clear enough and it's manifest. And so that part of it is being dealt with. They are looking at the other elements. If there's cause for us to proceed in any particular way, I think that will advise us in time.
Richard Ahagwa is Director of Communications with the NPP. Thank you so much. Mustafa, you have a final word on this matter.
I just think that we and Elton, we need to, on this occasion, extend, some sort of appreciation and compliment to the Ghana Police Service team, having done a very good job, upheld the highest standard of professionalism. And of course, we need to congratulate and commend the party foot soldiers of both the NDC and the NPP. Because in this by-election, we have not recorded a single incident that involved the party foot soldiers and supporters we have.
Right.
Which means that the call by the public for us as political parties to eschew violent tendencies in elections is something that our party supporters are beginning to uphold. And so that is why I would continue to urge the NPP that these are two unfortunate issues that have occurred. And I think that as leaders of two political parties, we should use the opportunity to sit on a round table to iron out so that if that is what may repeat itself in the future, it doesn't have to happen again, so that we can learn out of it and move on.
Mustafa, thank you so much. And once again, congrats on the party's victory at Akwatia. Mustafa Gobande is a Deputy General Secretary of the NDC and also Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency. Now, away from the NPP and the NDC and the matters relating to Akwatia parliamentary by-election, President Mahama says Ghana cannot continue spending over $15 million annually, yearly if you like, on renting property abroad for diplomatic use, insisting the reset agenda demands an immediate reversal. Speaking at the commissioning of new ambassadors and high commissioners, he announced that Cabinet has approved a plan to shift from renting to developing state-owned property. This, he explained, would ensure Ghana's missions abroad operate from buildings owned by the Republic, cutting wasteful expenditure.
It was a joyous occasion here as family members gathered for the commissioning of 18 new envoys made up of high commissioners and ambassadors. President John Mahama, in his speech, stated that Cabinet has approved a plan that will ensure a move and a shift from Ghana renting diplomatic properties abroad to owning the properties. He says over the years, $15 million is spent annually on these diplomatic properties.
Let me be emphatic. Ghana cannot continue spending a staggering more than $15 million every year on renting properties abroad for our diplomatic use. This is not a judicious use of taxpayers' resources, and the reset agenda requires an immediate reversal of this trend. And that is why Cabinet has promptly approved the STRIDE initiative. And STRIDE refers to the strategic transition from rental to developing our own properties. I've tasked the Ministers for Foreign Affairs and Finance to work urgently to resolve this long-standing challenge. From my latest briefing, a transaction advisor has been appointed, standard designs are being developed, and funding mechanisms are already being negotiated. This decisive shift will ensure that our missions abroad are housed in properties that are owned by the Republic, reducing wasteful expenditure while safeguarding Ghana's dignity on the international stage. Integrity must be your watchword. The Public Financial Management Act and all relevant regulations must guide your stewardship of public resources that are put in your care. I urge you to guard the public purse with diligence and ensure that efficiency, service, and ethical governance, the very values we're entrenching at home, shine through in every mission abroad.
I have also been speaking to Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK, Zita Benson, on what she makes of the government's decision to move away and shift from renting properties to owning them. She says it is a laudable initiative.
It's a very good initiative, and I'll tell you why. When I was ambassador, when I took office in Czech Republic, Prague, we were renting our residence. We were paying 9,000 euros a month. And for our chancery, we were paying 8,000 euros a month. So what happened was that at the end of we pay our rent every quarter. So we were not able to pay ourselves because we were using our salaries to pay rent. So what happened was that I took a decision that I would move to a cheaper place. So I moved from my 9,000 euro a month place to a 2,500 euro a month place, and then I moved the chancery also to a 4,000 euro a month place. So, but if we own our own, if we have our own place, if we have our own chancery, we own our own residences, then all the money that we spend on rent can be used for something else. Because every month we spend so much on rent, and abroad we pay every quarter. So every quarter, if you are not able to pay, they'll throw you out. So what happens is that sometimes we use our salaries to cover up. So it's a very good initiative that the president is doing.
Ghana's ambassador to the US, Victor Smith, says this will save the country a lot of money.
This makes sense. I mean, for so many years, we've been renting properties in so many of our embassies, missions abroad, and paying good money out and not still owning the properties. So if this is an agenda of his and is a vision of his, why not? You know, we would try and find ways of funding these things and then building just modest facilities so we can continue to have this sort of bilateral relations with our other host countries instead of them always renting and paying money out. I think it's a good idea. It's a brilliant idea, but you know, we need to make it work.
Remember, we've got that exclusive with the Ashanti Regional Minister coming up pretty shortly here on the post. Stay tuned because a lot of things that he spoke about, illegal mining, why he was selected as Regional Minister at that very age, and of course, what he's doing to win the Ashanti region for the NDC. How that's going to be possible, we'll hear from him pretty soon. But the Greater Accra Regional Chair of the Association of Ghana Industries, Tonam Akpedo, has called for business leaders and industries to be appointed as Ghana ambassadors and high commissioners. His remarks follows President Mohammed's announcement of new performance benchmark for envoys linking diplomacy to measurable outcomes under the reset agenda. Speaking on the sidelines of the Made in Africa Diplomacy and Business Dialogue in Accra, Mr. Akpedo argues that deliberately appointing business leaders is the best way to advance Ghana's interests as they can leverage their vast industry experience to deliver results. There's more in this report.
The Maiden African Diplomacy and Business Dialogue, organized by Salt University College under the theme Harnessing African Diplomacy for the Success of the African Continental Free Trade Area, brought together top diplomat and business leaders to explore diplomacy as a tool to accelerate AFTA's goals. A panel discussion also examined strategies to fast-track its achievement. Speaking to the media, President of Salt University College, Ambassador Dr. Kojo Alabo, blamed the lack of political will among member states for the failure to achieve the full potentials of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
The lack of political will, people not doing enough in order to undertake the measures that are necessary for us to move to the next level, to move to the next point. You see, the diplomat, should be engaged in standardization of the various tariff regimes that we have. It is part of our business, negotiating for compromises here and there, and to bring together the diversities that we have so that there will be a common platform. Because what is the use that we have? We are all drumming home the fact that AFTA is the biggest trading bloc in the world. It will unite 1.4 billion people. It has the potential to produce wealth of about 3.4 trillion. What is the use when we are not moving to the next step?
Keynote speaker Professor Olusola Oyewole said realizing AFTA's poverty alleviation goals requires African universities to decolonize their curricula to meet modern demands.
We need to change the curricula because the requirements that are of our young people today is different from the requirements of the colonial times. The skills and competencies required by young people to survive and contribute to development today is quite different. And that's why our universities, we need to change the curricula. We need to decolonize our curricula so that we have quality young people that will contribute to our development.
For Ghana to leverage diplomacy for growth, Greater Accra chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelo, insisted business promotion must be central, with ambassadors drawn from industry leadership.
Our view is that in modern times, diplomacy must be used to promote business, promote entrepreneurship, and promote industry. That is the only way we can ensure that we derive the needed dividends that will allow our countries to grow. We further believe that in even deciding who become a diplomat or who represent the country internationally, we select individuals whose accomplishment includes the fact that they have been in business, or individuals who have demonstrated capabilities in industry and entrepreneurship and having understanding of how business is run or how things are done in the business place. That way, they have the needed background and understanding of what is it that they want to negotiate for the country. So we are calling that it is still a good time because our understanding is that diplomats are still being appointed. And so we are happy to see that a lot of all of these appointments go to support the cause that the individuals might necessarily have backgrounds that speaks to industry, entrepreneurship, creativity, innovation, and people who understand how things work in real world.
The African Diplomacy and Business Dialogue, spearheaded by Salt University College, is expected to become an annual platform for rethinking economic diplomacy to accelerate the continent transformation. Carlos Caloni, Joy News, Accra.
Now, let's talk about communication because something is moving within the telecommunications space. The Sector Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Neti George, has announced that AT, that's Airtel Tigo, will merge with Telecel Ghana, formerly Vodafone. The decision follows Airtel Tigo's worsening financial crisis, with the operator recording a $10 million deficit just the first 8 months of 2025. Government says that measure is necessary to stop draining taxpayers' funds and redirect resources to critical infrastructure such as roads, water, and schools. Sam George assured that all 300 permanent Airtel Tigo employees will keep their jobs, pledge a seamless transition for subscribers, and dismiss fears about the company's future. He made the announcement whilst addressing staff at AT's headquarters in Accra. Joy News' lead data and research analyst Azorko has been providing further issues on this matter.
Tracking its financial position, trying to look at its profit and loss position since 2020. And as you can see, all of this year's Airtel Tigo has recorded losses. And the losses is averaging around 500 million Ghana cedis every year. 2024, in terms of the managerial report we are getting, Airtel Tigo's loss actually reached 785 million Ghana cedis. If you add all of this, it simply means that Airtel Tigo in this period under review has made losses to the tune of 2.7 billion Ghana cedis. And that is a big headache for the government, because you need to find ways and means to still keep this company afloat, because government has 100% shares currently in Airtel Tigo. And the reason why we are merging, or the government has decided to merge with, Telecel. But not just the losses. If you look at Airtel Tigo's debt position, how much they owe, currently their debt and liabilities around 3.6 billion Ghana cedis, and that is what we know so far. And that is a big 2024. That's a big headache also for government and Airtel Tigo as well. But in terms of their equity, you will expect that, well, you may be making losses, but at least keep a positive equity. But Airtel Tigo is keeping a negative equity of 2.8 billion Ghana cedis. It simply means that if you sell all the assets of Airtel Tigo, it will not be enough to pay their current debt and then liabilities. If you can go to the next slide, that will show you the market share. So we are looking at government merging Airtel Tigo and Telecel.
Yeah, and you've been explaining that equity would mean that if they sell all of their current assets, it will not be able to offset how much they owe.
Their debt and liabilities, and that gives them that negative equity that they have currently. But this is the market share currently, according to the data we are getting from the NCA. This is the most recent data in the first quarter. MTN is holding 73.86% of subscribers. Airtel Tigo or Telecel 18.26, and Airtel Tigo is around 7.89. So you can see that just looking at this pie chart, Airtel Tigo isn't really the big player here. MTN is still the big guy in terms of the telecom industry. After the merger, what is going to happen? If you go to the next slide, you see after the merger, Airtel Tigo, we don't know the name that they will call it when they decide to merge Airtel Tigo and Telecel, but they combine. For the first time, we'll have a second player that will hold 26.1% of the market share.
Well, a member of Parliament's Information and Communications Committee, Davis Opoku, has also been sharing his views on the way forward on the possible merger between Airtel Tigo and Telecel Ghana.
For me, or for us on the minority side, we really do not see much of a difference. I think what is happening is that you have a company that is financially struggling. I mean, if a company is able to record over $10 million in just 8 months, I think this is a burden that cannot be shouldered by the taxpayer. And so if there's going to be a merger where a company would absorb these liabilities and, for want of word, carry over 300 permanent employees of 80 so that they do not lose jobs, I think it's a fair deal. I mean, to say it bluntly, 80 is a debt company. I mean, it's a debt company that nothing can be done about it. So I'm happy that Telecel is now absorbing. But the most important thing for us as a people is that we cannot have a population of over 32 million with just 2 telcos, operating in this country. I mean, we ought to create an enabling environment to allow investors to come in. I mean, we were at a point where people were interested in coming to invest in Ghana. And I think that for me, should be the focus of government.
Is that not the situation already? Is that not the situation that we do not have just two telecom companies, but still their challenges, and that's why they want to merge it to now make it 2. It will be Airtel Tigo and Telecel 1, and then MTN as well 1.
So my concern is that having 2 companies managing 32 million does not create, I mean, it's more like creating it's a monopolized environment. There's a need to bring in more of these telcos to come and create more opportunities for Ghanaians. I mean, we want to get out there. And so we think that the state ought to do a lot more. I mean, by creating a level playing field where this dominance by one operator is taking off.
So that's the member of the Communications Committee in Parliament, Davis Opoku, speaking there to my colleague, Akwati Adati, early on today. And of course, this is a matter that is developing. How this merger is going to pan out, the name that will be given to what, of course, those details will come up pretty soon. And we're going to take a short break here on a pause. When we return, my guest is the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwakohene, and we'll talk about a lot of things. You don't want to miss that interview coming your way after this short break here on a pause. Good afternoon and welcome to this special edition of The Pulse. My name is Elton Brobe, and today we're coming to you live from the office of the Ashanti Regional Minister. He is a medical doctor and a politician, young and vibrant, leading a very politically hostile region, but delivering on the promise made to Ghanaians by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. My guest this afternoon is Dr. Frank Amwakohene, the Ashanti Regional Minister. Dr. Amwakohene, you're welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you very much.
And it's really good to see you. I mean, you are everywhere, on social media, everywhere, and you are giving meaning to young individuals in leadership positions.
Precisely the point.
And sometimes I wonder the drive.
It's a privilege to get the opportunity to serve Ghana and, for that matter, Ashanti region at a very young age.
Right.
So it's an opportunity I don't want to take for granted. And I want to do it to the best of my ability so that we will have more reasons to include the youth in leadership. The reason for which you see me attending to almost every problem.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, what did the president tell you before accepting this job?
I asked him directly what he needs me to do in the region. All he told me was that make me proud. So at any point in time, when I need to take any major decision, I just need to consult him. At times he asks of, what do you think? You are in charge of the region, what do you think? Then I run it by him. Once he's okay with that, I just go ahead and implement it to the best of my ability.
And then coming up here, I saw pictures of former regional ministers. I mean, Star Wars, some late, some still living, and you are fitting so well into their shoes. How difficult is it to lead a very politically hostile region like the Ashanti region?
So the first thing was to learn from those who have walked the path earlier. So you remember my first days in office, I had the opportunity of meeting almost all the former regional ministers.
Great.
And I took every single word they spoke and they uttered very seriously. But if not for anything, you can learn from their successes and their challenges so that you'll be able to overcome their challenges and also be able to improve on the vision they had and how to be able to survive in the region. And they have also equally been a good backbone, especially in able to consult them when there is a need to do so. Equally, His Excellency the President, though he's not directly in the region, but he's very experienced when it comes to matters of local government and public governance. So he's been there for me. I'm his last born, so anytime, every time, he has to make sure I'm on the right track. So far with that support, I've been able to navigate the challenges.
And sometimes are you careful with your steps because of the environment you find yourself in?
When you are too careful, you make mistakes.
be yourself, live life as it is, and just be proud and know that the decisions you are taking are right. That is it. If you want to be too careful, you make grave mistakes.
But we are in the Ashanti region, a commercial hub. And so what is the vision as far as you are concerned? I know the government has its own plans, but you are leading it. What is the vision to make Kumasi what it used to be?
So in any space I have found myself, the first thing is to profile the space and look at the strengths and the weakness and the opportunities, as it were, SWOT analysis. This region is centered almost at the middle of the country. So those moving from the north to the south go through the region in a similar manner across east to west. So it means that we are unique in our diversity. And if someone is going to Accra to make a purchase of anything and find same in Ashanti, there is no need going all the way to Accra. It applies from all the other angles. So profiling the region, I realized that our trade industry within the local economy, our creatives, and then our agric areas. These are the key areas that makes us stand out. Of course, our culture.
Right.
So I needed to see how best I would be able to harness these strengths to be able to drive the other sectors as well. So if you've realized, especially the creatives areas and the culture aspect of the region, I don't belittle those areas, and I give them all the support I need to give, because once the region is on the map and it's in the news, people will want to find out what is really unique about the region, for which reason is always in the news. They will travel from all walks of life to come into the region. When they come, they'll definitely buy, they'll definitely spend. And once they do that, the local economy definitely grows. So these are things I looked at and the key areas we are paying attention to.
But there are issues of infrastructural deficits. There's Wankra, I don't even know when Wankra will be operational. There are health challenges in the region. What is the plan? Perhaps you can start with Wankra.
So with the infrastructural inputs in the region, what we have realized is that usually successive governments do not have the political will continuing projects by previous governments. His Excellency the President has been emphatic that irrespective of the government that started whichever project, is going to ensure its completion. The reason for which we see Krofro market and all these other markets and other infrastructure being worked on. Wankra work is still ongoing, and we are hopeful that we should be able to complete them as soon as possible. I don't have the timeline, so I would not want to give that detail. But from my interaction with the site manager and the contractor, work is still ongoing. And the challenges as they come up, I speak with the trade ministry and we are able to resolve them.
And as a medical doctor, I'm sure health delivery obviously will be one of your priorities. And before the election, the NPP administration commissioned what was to be one of the Agenda 11 hospital project. As we speak, is yet to be operational. The Afari Hospital, that's the military hospital, also yet to come into fruition. How are you leading to actualize it so that the pressure on Kwamfanoche is lessened?
Thank you. So you don't commission awaiting operationalization. I believe that if you are not done, you are not done. If you are done, you are done. Otherwise, you would encourage me to go and commission Krofro Market. Awaiting this operationalization. They were not done with any of that in the 111 hospitals. And clearly, when we started the administration, the Minister of Health came around. We toured all these hospitals, and they were not completed. Thankfully, we've been able to operationalize 3 of them. Kedie, Swami, and Robonso.
Okay.
Recently, I visited some few others that are under construction. Kokoben under the Ofurukro municipality. One at Ahafwano Southeast, another at Ahafwano Southwest, Chimangobiajan North, and then the last one was at Echima Mpunia. These are the ones I have visited myself daily. The Minister of Health is committed in making sure that we complete these ones because we were not so happy when they abandoned Afari, Sewua, and all the other hospitals His Excellency the President John Mahama started in the previous administration. So work is still ongoing, in most of these hospitals, especially that of Kokobin, which is close to 95%. So at least you've been able to operationalize 3. If the Kokobin one...
And these are the Agenda 1 hospitals?
Yes.
Okay.
If the Kokobin one is also completed, then it will add up to 5. The other work are still ongoing. Those that are really at either the 40s or the 50s, i.e. Afano Southeast, Afano Southwest, the president made a call for religious groups that are interested in running or having a model to run a PPP agreement with the government in helping us complete these projects to come on board. Again, citizens who equally are interested in investing in the health space to come on board so that we would be able to complete most of these ones that are at a very low level of completion so far as the constructions are concerned.
And we are told that they get referrals from almost 8 regions.
Almost 8 regions. And we sat with the regional health director together with the CEO, the new CEO for Konfanochi, to map out those hospitals that do rampant referrals to Konfanochi and see how best we'll be able to send consultants and residents down to those hospitals instead of referring the patients. Because it was becoming unbecoming when we got the wind that patients will have to queue waiting for theater space. When we have other theater space within some district hospitals well equipped and with the needed personnel or consultant, they should be able to carry out some of these surgical procedures. So we have mapped out those plans so that we can get the consultants to rather go to some of these hospitals that do frequent referrals, or in an attempt of reducing the pressure on Konfanochi. Now, once we're able to do that, then we'll now be able to go in and do major interventions as Royal Majesty 2-4 wants us to heal Konfanochi in that regard. The maternity block, as you mentioned, was started years ago.
1975.
Yes, and His Excellency the President, I remember clearly when Otumfuo visited His Excellency the President, he made mention of his commitment in helping us complete that maternity block. That also includes the Konfanochi, KNST Hospital.
Right.
It's also been abandoned for so many years. His Excellency the President has equally indicated commitment in supporting us to be able to complete that. So that should let you know that the President has his eyes on Ashanti, for which reason we are very hopeful that with same commitment we should be able to lift the health infrastructure here to a different level.
But the maternity block, I mean, from your expert view, it's been standing for close to 50 years now. Is it the case that a new one will be built, or this one will be renovated to? I mean, the structural integrity has been questioned.
Exactly. So the contractors and the experts will give us a report on the structural integrity test. Once that is done and it passes, why not? We go ahead. I remember the team from the Hill Konfanochi, when they were about to renovate the maternity block, the other blocks or the other wards, they had to conduct a structural integrity test. Those structures are far older than that of the maternity one, but they passed. So we will not want to underestimate the structures as it is. We wait for the expert reports and we'll be able to know the way forward.
All right. And then because you touched on the Afari Hospital and the Defense Ministry, and I mean, when I said I'm coming to talk to you, a lot of questions I got from people was, I mean, we would like to find out your first reaction when you got the news of the death of our compatriots. I mean, we're watching you live on Joy News at the illegal mining program, and then you said there was an emergency you needed to attend to, and then that was, for a lot of people, the icebreaker for that particular incident. How difficult was it, especially when you got to the scene?
I think that we are all trying to forget. And it's good for our emotional health and psychological health. So I may not want to delve back into most of these things. They bring back difficult memories. So I would rather want us to focus on moving forward. And moving forward, yesterday we were at the community to show appreciation to the youth and the leaders who supported us in those difficult moments. And I'm happy that they are glad that we showed up. Initially, there were a lot of concerns as to whether we would go there or not. But we're waiting for the president to finish most of the processes he wanted us to go through. So thankfully yesterday, we were there to show appreciation to the community. For most of the things that occurred within the process, I'm sure we've had a lot of commentaries, a lot of remarks, a lot of reviews, and I think that I want to leave it as it is.
I mean, your role was quite significant. A medical doctor also leading the team to this particular incident. But I mean, did you recover every part of the helicopter?
So the parts of the helicopter, as we went there, was in pieces, scattered in the forest. So unless the investigation team is able to recreate the scene with the parts that are available, then they would be able to tell us whether or not all the parts have been retrieved or not. But the information we sent out earlier, which helped us, was to provide a ransom for the community folks to return the parts for that ransom, and it really helped us. Okay. So as we speak now, they indicate that all that was in the possession of the youth have been returned. Yesterday when we went to the community, we made mention of the same call, that if you still have any of these equipment or parts in your possession, let us still have it. So the investigation team definitely will come out with a reconstruction of the scene, the craft, and be able to tell us
whether there's still some left.
There are still some left.
But do they have access to their farms now?
We never blocked access to the farms.
Okay.
So the perimeter was around the forest zone, where, and see, it is really deep into the forest,
right?
Like 2 hours walk on foot. So when you are going, you definitely navigate through farms before you actually start entering the forest. So there are cocoa farms all the way to the border of the forest reserve. So all these areas are still accessible to the farmers. The areas that are not accessible are just some few kilometers around where the site actually, the crash occurred. So we have not inconvenienced them in terms of access to their farms. And yesterday, I made mention of saying that they can still access their farms as they access. However, in the forest, you're not expected to do any farming activities or to be there gerrymandering or doing any other activities over there. So in the forest, you're not expected to be there, but in their farms, they're expected to go.
But because this happened in Ashanti region, let me ask what lessons we are drawing from this in terms of future, how we deal with aviation-related accidents.
So with these, from where I sit, there is less we could do to avert the issue from where we sit. Maybe the aviation industry may speak to their craft maintenance and any other issue that may come up from their investigation. But from where we sit, it's just in the forest. And there is less preparation that you can make to take care of all the forests we have in the region. All I can say is that maybe the road network to that town, because when we were going, it was a bit of a challenge. So when we visited the area, before even we visited yesterday, I had spoken to the Honorable Roads Minister, and he had found some money for a road contractor who is working on the road network. So that is what I may want to advocate for, that we are able to, because all those areas, especially for cocoa production, all those areas are areas where we receive a lot of our cocoa inputs from. Okay. So we should be able to, as it were, construct most of these roads so that in case of any of these accidents, road access to these communities will not be of a challenge. I want to thank His Excellency the President, the Road Minister, for helping us with the Sikaman-Bufudu area and the enclave. Aside from that, I think that everything we needed for that rescue process was in place. Maybe in a very advanced state, maybe we needed to have helicopters coming in and all that. These are all commentaries I've seen out there. But I think that I'll leave that to maybe the aviation sector players to speak to that.
And maybe the outcome of the investigation may make some recommendations that may also go to address some of these things. But talking about roads, is the region benefiting, is already taking its share from the government agenda to construct roads, especially in the 2025 budget and beyond? Kumase, and the Ashanti region, especially the Kumasi and Accra Road, it's become a hotspot for accidents. You should be concerned about the lives we are losing every day from road accidents.
Most definitely. I think Ashanti region is having the lion's share because the president's time without number has indicated his commitment to completing the Accra Kumasi highway. And beyond that, under the big push, has promised the Accra Kumasi Expressway, which avoids the major towns. So that once you are on the road, you know that you have no business at Suhum, you have no business at Konomo, and you'll be able to reach on time. Also a 3-lane to avoid head-on collisions among others. So I want to thank him for that political will in making sure that we are able to do the Accra Kumasi Highway and that of the expressway as he has mentioned. Beyond that, under the big push, we are having the outer Kumasi ring roads being constructed. And we have started with the engagement and compensation process. So that one goes through Ejesu Abinasi all the way to Jaben to Fijasi to Fida Kwabre, such as south, sorry, to Fida Kwabre north, all the way into the Offensu road. The phase 2 will take the same route all the way through the Hafuano Enclave, Chumampunia, or Chumakwanuma, Bekwai, then all the way back to Ejesu. So that the big and heavy duty tracks will avoid going through the central business area.
Especially Auranga Junction.
Yes, so they don't have to go through Auranga Junction. Beyond all this, town roads and the feeder roads and the urban roads are being constructed now. So Ashanti region is not left out. And in, I think last week, I visited some of these areas where the contractors are back on site and are working. And to mention Barikesi to Offensu Road, which is, the contractor is still on site and working. Tepa Town Road, the contractor is on site. So most of these areas, road constructions are still
and this plan appears to address the concerns of a lot of people before the 2024 elections when the voters had issues with the way the NPP administration was going about constructing roads. But your plan appears to be addressing all of these concerns.
Most definitely. You see, there is the stronghold of the NPP. So I think that they were not fair to the region. And especially the Accra Kumasi Highway. They spent 8 years without doing much. Yet, with a call on His Excellency the President within these 8 months, much commitment has been made. They often call Achimota area. The road minister had to intervene and make sure work has resumed. So I believe that the region should have seen even much more development under the NPP than they saw in the past.
Do you think the NPP took the region for granted?
And it reflected in the results they had. So I think that the Ghanaians have casted a verdict on their performance in the region. I want to show that appreciation to the region by way of driving development into the region, so that they will know that His Excellency the President appreciates and deeply appreciates their input so far as that election 2024 was concerned.
You think in a region where at least 6 or 7 out of 10 people you meet are MPP, your style of leadership can help change the minds and get the region to tilt towards the NDC?
So what we're doing is to develop the region. And once you develop or go about the region's development with a clean heart, the results will definitely follow. And irrespective of the commentaries around, as you rightly mentioned, when you pick 10 people, 6 people are on the other side. So you get 6 people criticizing everything you are doing.
Right.
So you don't focus on the 6, focus on the 4. Once you are losing the 4, then you should be worried. But there is a situation where most research and most polls that have come into the region indicate that even most of the people among the 6 appreciate what His Excellency the President is doing in the region. So I believe so much that we are on the right track, and definitely with this commitment we should be able to make the region proud.
The results of the last election will suggest to you that things can change if done properly, because the NPP lost some seats that were originally traditional strongholds of the NPP. As we move towards 2028, you are confident that the trend may even be better?
Yeah, most definitely.
And that will depend on what?
The output of the government, which is quite positive for the past 8 months.
And you are certain that there is no antagonism against the people of the region because of their political affiliation by this government?
Oh, unless you don't understand politics. Ashanti region gives NDC the 2nd largest votes nominal just after Greater Accra. So unless you don't understand the figures, that's when you look at things concerning the fact about the percentages and the balance. But any time the region rewards MDC anything beyond 30%, we are good to go. So it's not about having 80 or 70 or 60% from the region. No, it's about having what it takes to stabilize us to be able to win subsequent elections. And I'm very clear that His Excellency the President understands these games of numbers. The party leadership also understand the reason for which you realize that it's almost always Ashanti. Because we want to stabilize the votes here and be able to, as it were, get the others to support us when it comes to elections.
Let's talk about illegal mining, which is also a major concern for the region. I mean, it's giving the region a bad name. And what is the coordinating council doing in terms of helping government plan to deal with this menace?
We were supporting the Interior Ministry and the local government ministry. They were fighting it from the center. I've read today that they have withdrawn the team that was brought in by the IGP. And obviously, it was expected.
Why?
Because if you can hold me accountable for some of these things, they should trust the processing in the hands of the locals, the MCs, the DCs, the regional ministers, to be able to own the fight movement. It got to a point where they had less say in what was happening.
Because the decisions were taken at the top?
Yeah, decisions were taken.
Without any consultation to those on the ground?
Yeah. And it gave room for other teams to just come into the communities, cladded in uniforms, without recourse to any structure, in the pretense of fighting against illegal mining and extorting people. And was a key worry from the chiefs and the people from the ground. So I think that we should tax the MMDCs, we should tax the regional ministers and the Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources to own the process. Then you can now do a reshuffle of any of these heads that are not able to, as it were, take the necessary and the bold steps in helping us fight this. And you see, we need to define our targets right.
Right.
Which I support the call from day one, from His Excellency the President, that river bodies no-go area. Forest reserves, no-go area. Mining by the roadside, awful. Those who mine in the communities and those who mine in cemeteries. These 5 areas, it shouldn't be taken lightly.
People have no respect for the dead.
I mean, it shouldn't happen. All the other areas, we need to engage and get the community cooperative mining scheme to them so that they will be able to mine responsibly and will be able to regulate their activities. So I think that it's a call in the right direction. They should let the MMDCs own the fight so that they can be held responsible directly, because they are with the community folks. They would definitely have more information than any other person in Kumasi or in Accra will have.
Is this your suggestion, or this is the new approach?
No, this is the new approach. It's been announced. It's been announced today.
Okay, so which means that you, as regional minister and head of the Security Council, is responsible for the region, and then all the MMDs will have to now report to you.
Precisely, on every issue concerning security issues. And one concern, you see, we call for reviews of the strategies as we move on, is that anytime there is an illegal mining operation in the community, during the night period, there is an increased issues of robberies. So what it means is that wherever there will be an operation, you should be prepared security-wise to send in an additional team to help combat the ripple effects of having to go in these areas and going to clear them from the forest. And again, because we have removed most of these illegal miners into the communities, they were there with guns and arms. We need to offer them amnesty and get them to return those arms to our various police units.
What kind of amnesty?
So right now, if you have not licensed your gun and you bring it even to the police station, you can be arrested.
You won't be arrested, okay.
Yes, so I will either hide it in the community or in my room whatsoever. We need to give them a grace period and ask them to willfully submit them to the respective police stations. So that once they're able to do that within that period, you can be clear in your mind that no one is hiding any gun whatsoever in any of these areas. Otherwise, these guns are used to perpetrate other forms of fraud because they are not in use within the forest areas, within the river bodies, among others. Then we have to get the Small Arms Commission to be able to check local manufacturing of these arms and importation of these arms and be strict on sin so that we'll be able to have a good control over crime and its associated issues. So these are all issues that have come up from most of the reviews, and I'm sure that we would be able to have a very good control over the system.
But again, I mean, it will also put pressure on you as a minister. I know how resourceful these illegal miners are. I mean, some of the DCs have and cocoa farmers have come to say that sometimes the monies that these illegal miners promise them is difficult to look the other way. I don't know whether you are also experiencing such overtures just to look the other way and allow this illegality to go on.
Mining is not a bad thing, but irresponsible mining is what we are against. So the government cannot ban mining in its entirety, that no one should mine. But once you are mining, your activity should not negatively affect someone else who may not be involved in mining. That is the reason for which the intervention from the responsible cooperative mining has come in. So that team is expected to ensure that if you have decided to go into mining, then it should be done in a way that will protect the lands, protect the environment, and will be of importance to the next generation. So yes, people may want to opt and go into mining instead of going into cocoa farming. You cannot force everyone to go into cocoa farming. But once you want to do mining, you have to do it in line with the laws of the country. Once equally you want to go into any other business, you have to do it legally. The reason for which the government has made available the responsible cooperative mining, and they are mandated to making sure that anyone who opts to do mining do so rightfully under and in line with the laws of the country.
The Interior Minister is clear that any police commander under whose watch illegal mining is taking place will be transferred. What will be the fate of MMDCs who also are unable to control illegal mining in their areas?
It's a very difficult fight, and the president understands the issues. And anyone, and there's been a letter to that effect, any political head who is found being complicit, so far as these issues of illegal mining is concerned, definitely the president will show you an exit. And there should be good faith from all political heads towards this fight against illegal mining. So for MMDCs, definitely you may not have the luxury of transferring them like the police. So we would have to devise a new or a different approach towards him. And I'm sure that once we let them own the fight, they'll have the responsibility of directly responding and speaking to the issue. Because usually when issues happen, say in one of the decisions, you call the MC, oh, I didn't know anything about it. And rightfully so, you didn't know anything about it. How can I hold you responsible for something you didn't know anything about it? So I think that we need to change course as we have now, give them that responsibility and see what they can do. If they are not able to do that, I'm sure the president will advise himself on their...
What about your own party people who say that our government is in power and it's about time we also exploit the environment to advantage?
I don't believe in that. Anyone who is a party person will not want to give the government a bad name.
Your national organizer is being investigated by Yoko.
Being investigated or standing prosecution is not the same as being convicted. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty by or convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction. And that is the clear difference also between the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and other governments. Hardly would you get any government opening up to investigate his own officers. So once that is ongoing, it should tell you that the government has the political will in dealing with this issue. So I think that it should not be misconstrued as though government officials, party folks are the ones engaged in this. And you see, every miner now would never identify with the NPP.
No.
They will not do that.
At this stage.
They will not do that. They will definitely identify with the ruling government just to find favors and be able to push a certain narrative. But if you question them, how long have you been mining? Then you realize the timeline date as far back as that of previous or successive governments. Then you ask yourself, during those times, NDC was not important. So how did you manage to be able to mine even under that regime? So it should tell you that they are smart people. They find ways to survive every regime. So for me, if you are an NDC person, a party person, and you love His Excellency the President and this government, you will definitely not do things that will bring disgrace to His Excellency the President and the government.
Let me touch on a few issues so that I can let you go. Linked to this is the claim that there are not jobs in the system. That's how come some of these young people would find themselves in illegal mining sites and work. I mean, there's a report suggesting that even school kids, females, are also engaged in illegal mining. What is the plan to deal with this?
It is no excuse. If you are trained as a nurse and you are not posted, would you say that there are no jobs? You're going to commit abortions and do illegal practice elsewhere in other areas? No. The fact that there are no jobs doesn't mean that you should take guns in your hands and go and rob. There's no excuse for that. And the problem over there is not the fact that there are no jobs. The problem is that there are no jobs that can pay as much as they see in the mining sector.
Right.
That is the actual problem. Okay. So I think that we are just finding reasons to ascribe and to justify the wrong that is ongoing. Thankfully, the President and the Lands Ministry has given an alternative through the cooperative mining. If you opt to do mining, do it in line with the laid down rules and the guidelines as provided by the cooperative mining.
Final two issues. What is the plan to build collaboration between your office and the traditional leadership here in the Ashanti region? A very powerful one.
That has been ongoing, and it's a daily affair. And Tufo is my uncle or father or both. And he's my king, and I am from this region, and I know the culture and how we revere our king and our chiefs, and there's no difficulty serving your king, even as minister.
Right.
Usually, when you have a difficulty serving the king as a political head of the region, that's when you have a problem. My appointing power, who is the president, even respect to Tufo,
of course,
to the extent that if you see the kind of friendship between them, you realize that there's a very long-standing one. For which reason, who are you, a regional minister, to rub shoulders with the king? So, with this in mind, and the respect we have for the palace, we've been able to serve the traditional authorities well, and for which reason we've had a very good relationship with the traditional leaders well. And that also gives us credibility to solve some of the problems that comes out of chieftaincy, because they know that any decision that comes from you will not be a biased one, but will be a one that is of love to the culture and the tradition of the region.
Yeah, and you've got a big funeral on your hands coming up very soon. Yeah. The demise of the Queen Mother.
I've had a lot this year.
Yes, I mean, Mampon.
Yes,
right.
I have Mampon, Azorko chief also coming up. Then the biggest, Ashanti Hema. But I'm hopeful that there will be lights at the end of the tunnel. I'm sure, and I'm praying to God that after all these processes, we should see and count only joy.
But citizens always, especially in the region, always complain about lack of engagement between them and leadership. Under you, will that change?
I've been very accessible, as much as I should. I can say more than any other minister has ever been to their people. Because in most times, you hardly even see the minister. But I'm very young, and I understand the role of the new community we find, especially when it comes to social media. And I give the opportunity for citizens to speak to me directly.
Right.
and actually giving opportunity for citizens to book appointment online and get to meet with
to come and see
you. And it's helped me, because the point is that usually there's a leadership trap. They will put you in a siren from your home to the workplace, and put you again in a siren from your workplace and go back home.
And so there's always that disconnect.
Yes, you have the opportunity to witness what is happening. But engaging the people help you and offer you the opportunity to know the real situations as on the ground and be able to solve issues that affect their daily work. You remember this week you commissioned a bridge at Kotokom.
Okay.
People may think that, oh, it's Kotokom bridge and interchange, but I can tell you they value it more than any other thing you may have done for them. So once you engage them and you are closer to them, you get to know the things that you can do for them that will make them appreciate and feel that they have a leader. Once they appreciate and have confidence that they have a leader, then you also be able to have the power to do things that will change their life in a very positive way.
But there has been too many fires in the region. Even yesterday, we are yet to recover from the Swami incident. I mean, what is going on? Is there an underlying thing that perhaps the citizens are not doing the right thing, or response level is so low that sometimes it's difficult to fight some of these fires?
Okay, so for these fire incidents, official investigations are ongoing. So I will not want to preempt the outcome. However, the plan and the establishment of these markets were done very old and very so many years ago.
But Kejetia is new, and yet
no, Kejetia had only one fire incident under the previous NPP administration. Right. In recent times, it's just pocket of fire incidents in shops, and the way it was designed, it makes it difficult to spread into different shops. The Adum PZ has been a very old settlement. Right. It has a similar, or the Swami market had a similar structure like that of the Adum PZ. No car exit and entry points, no access for fire tender and all that. And the same reason for which they could not put the fire out in town in time, so far as the Swami issue is concerned. But thankfully, they were able to prevent spread of the fire onto adjacent buildings. So yesterday, when I met with them and the municipality, I told them that we need to take that bold decision in making sure that we deliberately redesign most of these markets so that there can be access, vehicular access into these markets. After the Adum PZ issue, we started the constructing roads on the other side of the Adum PZ. And when we started, and at a point, we realized that the public was now coming at us as though we were doing something that was untoward. But the point is that until we get that boldness and until we get the cooperation from the people to be able to assist us create these vehicular access into most of these markets, usually when there are these fire incidents, you end up losing almost everything. But I think that we have to hold the bull by the horn and make sure that we redesign most of these markets to meet, as it were, modern demands and be able to prevent some of these things.
And I read that government has made some intervention to those affected by the Swami fire.
Yes. So on behalf of the President and the Gender Ministry, we made some emergency relief opportunities available to them, which includes assorted items and a cash donation of 100,000. That is for the most vulnerable, who may not even be able to feed themselves for a few days. NADMO and the other organizations are doing an assessment, a full one, of the entire losses that occasioned at the market, then following which a major intervention can be provided for them.
Okay, and then whilst coming, I saw a big banner, first Regional Security Council meeting. So this will be your first meeting?
Yeah, so this first Regional Coordinating Council meeting. So the Coordinating Council meeting has, we are expected to meet twice a year.
Okay.
So all the DCs are part, all presiding members are part, 2 members from the Regional House of Chiefs, then all the regional heads of decentralized institutions are all part. So we are expected to meet.
And what's the agenda?
Also, we are reviewing sector by sector what we have done in the past 8 years, 8 months, the challenges that are occurring, and how we'll be able to intervene. So yesterday, ECG took their time to present. So all the districts had the opportunity to ask them questions. Pertaining to their services.
And power is a very big issue here in Ashanti region.
Yes. So yesterday we had a very lengthy discussion with the ECG.
Confident with the report they gave you that it will stabilize?
Oh no. So for the past about 3 months, the power situation has changed drastically.
Okay.
And the complaints we used to get from the field has improved. I remember commending them for that major intervention in stabilizing the sector here in Ashanti. However, more room for improvement. There are some pocket of issues that definitely needs to be resolved. So as the districts bring them up, then they also get to update them. Agric also took their turn. Today, this morning, we will do that of roads, we will do that of the energy ministry, among other areas.
All right. Minister, in 4 years, how will you want to be remembered?
Now, the minister who helped this president to reset Ashanti region. My vision is the vision of a successful president.
Okay. And this job can take a big toll on you. So what do you do to unwind?
Just enjoy what you're doing. And I enjoy every bit of what I'm doing. So you don't get to be too stressed or to be too taken aback by events. And it's been helpful. And I have a very good social support system. Friends and elders who I go to or they call me from time to time just to be able to share some of the burden with them and also to take advice from them. And obviously, in between, we just have to take some rest as well.
Of course. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you too.
It's my pleasure.
Great.
All right. So that's how we end it. You've been listening to the Ashanti Regional Minister, Dr. Frank Amwako Hinem. This has been The Pause. My name is Elton Broby. Good evening.